Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone in the world, wherever you are. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Another bite-sized Spurs moment here with me and the Roadman, Dave. Dave, how are we doing, buddy?
Absolutely shattered. Did morning brews this morning with Ben, and yeah, I've been spending the rest of the day buying bike parts, fixing bikes up, testing bikes. So I'm knackered.
There you go. Well, do you know what? We're going to have a bit of nostalgia today because today, for people of my age, older, or maybe around my age, something earth-shattering in the world of football had happened. Something. The only word I can say is jaw-dropping. Jaw-dropping happened on this day 30 years ago. On 30 years ago today, unbelievable, as the history of Tottenham Hotspur has said, unbelievable starters. This picture was greeted us on the back page of every newspaper. I've never been as stunned by a transfer as this, even to this day, which I agree with, and he didn't disappoint. And obviously, there he was a few days later at the old White Hart Lane with Ozzy Ardiles holding the scarf aloft, wearing the shirts. I mean, I can remember we signed him, and this was before social media. This was before everything. And I remember, I think Sky Sports News or something had happened because I was around I remember it vividly. I was around my cousin's house for the summer or for a week in the summer, chilling with my cousin, and then all of a sudden, bam, everything got stopped. Jaws were dropping. People like, oh my God. It was announced that Tottenham Hotspur have signed, probably at the time, one of the biggest, baddest, and best strikers in world football. One of the most lethal and deadliest finishers I have ever seen live. This man for £2 million. £2 million. And I will say when he signed, I thought, oh my God, the diver, because he had that reputation. We're going to get onto him and his time at Tottenham soon. But the earth stopped in footballing terms at Tottenham Hotspur started playing. And don't forget, at this time, we'd been docked 12 points. So we're minus 12 points like these clubs do now for going into administration. We were kicked out of the FA Cup. All right, we later got back into it. Spurs had absolutely no talk of Spurs hitting Europe or qualifying for the Champions League. And we signed this great man. I mean, I remember, like I said, my story. What, you remember the day, well, Dave, or anything about him?
Unfortunately, no, because I was obviously too young. But my story about Jurgen Klinsmann is when I was younger, I was never into football. That's got to be honest. I didn't care about football or anything like that. Now, my brother, he's always been, since the day he was born, he's always loved football type of thing. And he was a United fan. And I used to flip flop. I used to pick whatever team was at the top or whatever. I didn't care. Well, one day my brother said, listen, you can't be like that. You can't be a traitor. You have to pick a football team. So after a couple of days, I was looking through all the teams and everything. And then I watched Tottenham. And obviously, Jurgen Klinsmann was up front. And I remember him, I can't fully remember because it was many, many years ago, but he scored a really insane goal. And from that day, no word of a lie, I became a Tottenham fan. And still to this day, I'm a Tottenham fan because of him.
I guarantee you're probably talking about the bicycle kick against Everton.
Honest to God, I can't remember.
Or there was a volley, but that was halfway through the season. He a half volley he scored at home to Sheffield Wednesday. This man, yeah. But yeah.
It was one of them, and I can't remember which one it was, or I can't remember what the goal was, but I remember seeing him score a goal. And from that very day, around about 7 years old, I think it was, going on 8 years old, I became a Tottenham fan. And I've been depressed ever since.
What can I say? I mean, this man, like I said, I mean, we're now going to talk just about the first season he had us. We all know he came back for a second stint and he saved us from relegation. This is the most iconic photo you'll see when it comes to Jurgen. Obviously, him and Teddy Sheringham had the joke about if he scores, do the dive. Of course, he scored a bullet of a header from a Darren Anderson cross in a 4-3 win against Sheffield Wednesday. Then the bicycle kick. But we're going to talk about the impact this man had, not just on Tottenham, but on the Premier League, because this man was one of the first major foreign stars to come into the Premier League. You think about it now, all the foreign and the big players say they dream to play in the Premier League. Well, he was one of the first, and probably, if my mind serves me right, the biggest player at the time to come into the Premier League. Like Eric Cantona was obviously doing his bits by now, but Eric Cantona was not talked about in world football the way that this man was. I am extremely lucky, privileged, blessed, and whatever word you want to say, to have had the honour to pretty much see every single one of his games home and away. I missed a few, but I saw a lot of them. My very first away game was with this man. And you know what? You'd seen this man, last-minute goals against West Ham, last-minute FA Cup quarter-final beating Anfield at the Cop End. This man, as a striker, one of the most friendliest men. I met him at the training ground, and I met him when you could go to the Spurs training ground at Mill Hill, Copdale. He still drove the same Volkswagen old-style Beetle. He took it to every club he went. He drove an one of the most friendliest footballers I've met. Signed, and you can imagine everyone swamped him every day. Just an incredible human, a joy to speak with. And I was just a kid then, but my God, you put him across the white line, it was like a soldier going to war. This man, the pace he had, and we can talk Harry Kane and whatever, but this man, when it came to an eye for goal, this man was as lethal and as deadly as they come. And what he done for English football as well, and his reputation, mate. I mean, he was just breathtaking. Breathtaking is the word I use, Dave. What about yourself?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like I said, I didn't get the joy to watch him, obviously, when I was younger, because even though I watched games, I don't remember it fully. But, looking back through videos and things like that, you've seen what a true striker he was.
Yeah.
You've got them players who are just naturally gifted in the position they're meant to play. And he was naturally gifted. He had everything. He had skill, he had pace, he had power, he had strength, he had IQ, he had ability. He just had it all in one package. And it's a rarity to find, even to this day, strikers of the caliber of like a Klinsmann. And I mean, like I said, I can't remember too much about him, but overall, from what I watched through the years, looking back at things like that, you just wish you still had him, didn't you? You know what I mean? Unless he's one of them who just lasted for many, many years, because I remember we did end up selling him, didn't we? He did come back on loan. I think it was 98, something like that, or 96, some roundabout. Came on loan, played like 15 games for us, something. I mean, even on that loan, he had 9 goals or something like that. I mean, you're talking about a player who just could score goals, and he was just a natural joy to watch.
Well, he came back. Listen, we'll briefly say he left. I don't know if you believe this. He had a 2-year contract, but at the end of his first year, the reason he left was he wanted to win a league title and he wanted to challenge for major honours, and he didn't think he could do it at Spurs. And obviously that was Alan Sugar. This isn't so we are still kind of in that place, unfortunately. But he left. Obviously had a major falling out with Daniel. I'm so used to saying with Alan Sugar upon his exit. But you're right. He wanted to come back because it was the 97-98 season, and he wanted to be in the France World Cup, Germany World Cup squad for France, and he wanted to make sure that he was there. And he wasn't getting game time at Bayern Munich. I think it was Bayern Munich he came from. That was who we sold him to. So he came back. We saw her in deep relegation problems. So he came back. This man genuinely loves Tottenham Hotspur. Genuinely loves Tottenham Hotspur. He does a lot of stuff on American sports networks over here, or on this side of the pond. And whenever it's Tottenham, he's always got brilliant things to say about Spurs. And the final thing we're going to talk about, and we can't not talk about it, is I have been on many streams before, and I put it on my Twitter as well. And I can't tell you how deadly this strike force was. We're not going to talk about this part, but I'm just to bring it up. I still say if these two had played with each other during the same ages as Son and Kane and had that amount of time, these two would have smashed records beyond all. It would have taken years and years. Even when Jurgen Klinsmann left to Bayern Munich, they said, "Who would you want as your strike partner?" And he said Teddy Sheringham. This partnership, you look at Berbatovs and Keanes, Sons and Kanes, you can go back to Archibald and Crooks. There's strike forces that just hand in glove. And these two, and again, it's much harder to say nowadays because you don't play 4-4-2 and have a two-man strike force. But I'd seen these two, they just knew where to be. And there's one game I can remember, and I can't remember what game it is, but I remember this. I was sitting in the East Upper of the old White Hart Lane, and all of a sudden I heard Teddy Sheringham screaming for the football because he'd seen something. He'd gotten the ball within 3 passes, Jurgen's put it in the back of the net. because of his vision, but you had the visionary and the dropping deep of Teddy Sheringham. And obviously Jurgen would make the runs because they knew Teddy would find him. They knew, and you just got to look at the goal again. I spoke about the winner at Liverpool in the FA Cup. A long ball to Klinsmann, he kind of backheels it to trap it, just lays it off. Teddy Sheringham comes running in, curler into the top corner. These two knew each other like the back of their hand. And guys, mention in the comments below, not if you thought these two were better than Son and Kane. I want to hear what you guys thought if you were around to just had the privilege to watch these two in action, because these two together, my God, we may have got to the semi-final of an FA Cup. We may not have got anywhere close to the top of the league, but I can't remember a season I watched the strike force, apart from Son and Kane, with so much glee, so much happiness, so much expectation, so much excitement. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, like I said, the most recent one for me is obviously Kane and Sonny, because, you know, going back in the day, like I'm honest, I didn't watch much football when I was younger. I just watched clips. But looking back, you were mentioning strike forces then. For me, Klinsmann and Sheringham, they had a little bit of an aspect. Do you remember David Villa and Ozzy Ardiles? Ricky Villa, sorry. Ricky Villa, sorry. Them two, yeah. They had a connection that was just natural on the pitch. You have that in sync where they know where each other is. They get the ball, they know where the other person is. They get the ball, they know where the person is. Sheringham and Klinsmann had that. Either one of them get the ball, they didn't even need a second thought. They could just hit the ball. And like you said, it's such a shame nowadays we don't play a certain formation that allows that to carry on with certain players, because I think watching two players click naturally the way some do is absolutely wonderful to watch.
Yep. So listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. But all I will say before we wrap it up is we talk about how badly we need a striker right now. My God, if Tottenham Hotspur could have, if Jurgen Klinsmann was about now in the peak of his powers, we got him for 2 million, we'd probably be looking at putting a 0 on that in today's market for what he was. My God. But yeah, guys, listen, what I want to know is obviously like, share, and comment to this video. If you did have the pleasure of watching him, whether it be live, whether it be on videos, I want to know all your thoughts on Jurgen, all your memories on Jurgen, all your memories on the partnership, and all your memories of the day he signed. Please get active in that comment section, because me and Dave will be returning the comments or replying to the comments. I would end with a normal thing, but this has got nothing to do. It wasn't even the chairman. So we're just going to end it with, there's only one Jurgen Klinsmann. There's only one Jurgen Klinsmann. You're walking up.